In this video, we're going to look at EZGUI 5.0 and some of the features that are built into its runtime engine. Let's look at some of the common features that you can use in your application. Well, every application has forms or dialogues. With EZGUI, you have a variety of ways of creating and working with your forms. You can create a simple splash form. I'll display one here. And this one's on a timer. And it'll wait 5 seconds and then it'll just disappear on its own. One very nice type of form is a rebar child form. A rebar control can have multiple forms embedded into it. And each one of these is actually a form that's embedded as part of the rebar control. And each band is a separate form. EZGUI can do MIDI or multiple document types of applications. What's nice about this is that you can have multiple child forms and they can scroll. But EZGUI even offers more features than you may realize. For example, you notice here I can custom draw the background of the MIDI client area, which is a nice feature. Let's close that form. In Windows, there's a thing called a pager control, which allows you to embed a form, and that form can be scrolled either left or right or up or down using little arrows on each side. And these pager controls allow you to embed any EZGUI form, and it makes it very easy to get more information into a smaller space. EZGUI can draw the backgrounds of your forms. For example, here's a form where the background has a bitmap which is being tiled, and the visual designer can generate the code for you for this kind of form. The designer can also generate the code for a stretched background. So in this case, you can have a bitmap, and as you size the form, it can be stretched. Another nice thing is EZGUI has the ability to generate on the fly a region for a custom bitmap image to make a form in that image. For example, let's look at this one here. Now, here's a form which is not like your typical forms. It's basically a bitmap, which is the background, and EZGUI generates the region based on the transparent color. And you'll notice that I used purple as a transparent color. Here's another bitmap. We'll do the same thing. And here again we have a form which is not rectangular and doesn't have a caption bar or borders. And again, it's based on a region and a bitmap. Now EZGUI can do owner draw and a number of different types of controls, but it has exceptional support for the button control. Here you'll notice an example of some of the 3D buttons that you can create with EZGUI. And you can use normal themed buttons, but you can also create your own custom looking buttons here. And you can use a variety of different colors and text and even some images on them. Well, EZGUI's Visual Designer allows you to select plugins, and we're going to select a plugin and see how the buttons look different. Now I have a totally different style of buttons here. Look at the other plugin that's provided. And again, we have a totally different style of 3D buttons here. And then you can also have 2D colored buttons as well. So it's a very nice feature if you want to use different owner draw colored buttons. Now, owner draw can be used for a variety of things. For example, EZGUI has a simplified owner draw command set, which makes it very easy to create a variety of unique controls. For example, here is an owner draw control. It only requires a few lines of code with check boxes and a list box control. How about a drop down control where it displays all the fonts? And this combo box can actually display the actual fonts. For example, here's a font, and to the right you can see the actual font and how it looks, and then the font's name here. Another easily created control is a drop-down list of colors. And again, this is very easy to do with just a few lines of code in EZGUI 5.0. But EZGUI can have advanced owner draw, where you can actually draw almost anything that you want using the graphics engine built in. And here's an example of one that I created. And this is a list view control. Now, normally you wouldn't be able to do this very easily with a list view control. Notice I have different colors for the columns. I can even do some graphics here. For example, I got little bar graphs in the one column here. That all can be done using EZGUI using the advanced owner draw, which is a little bit more low level, but it does not require any Windows API coding at all. It can all be done using EZGUI commands. Well, EZGUI comes with a number of its own built-in custom controls. For example, here's a few of them. Here we have a file list box control, and you can actually move around and select different drives and the different folders and work through them and see the different files that are in there. And that's built into EZGUI. You can also have a property list box control, and here you have 5 different item or member types. For example, you can have a text field, you can have a color field where it displays the color dialog and you just select a new color. File property field where you can actually select any file that you want and add that file to the list. Let's see if we can find a file here that we can use. Okay, just looking for a bitmap, and I've got the file name there. You can have a drop-down list, or you can have a selection of choices there. And you can even have a custom property where it displays a button, but you display your own dialogues. In this case, I'm going to use the font dialog, and then I'm going to return back a font. EZGUI 5 also has its own shape hotspot control, and this control here basically allows you to have a number of different shapes, circular, box, different thicknesses on the lines, and even draw diagonal lines with it. And it allows you to use simple shapes in situations where it would help in your user interface. The control can also act as a hotspot control. For example, here I have a bitmap in the background, and wherever I have the words click here, I put over it an invisible hotspot control. So I can click on the hotspot control and I get feedback. This control can also be used as a splitter bar control by adding a few commands at runtime that you can actually convert it into a splitter bar, and so it even gives us the ability to have a splitter bar control. EZGUI also has a feature called custom draw, and in this case all you're doing is changing the font and the colors for each item in the control. For example, here's a list view control, and I've changed the font between these two columns, and in this case I've used the different colors for the text. Now notice in this one here, even individual items can use different colors and different fonts. Same thing is true with the tree view control, and that gives a nice degree of clarity to your tree view control, so it makes it more meaningful to your end users, and that's all done using custom draw. EZGUI also has a visual design engine. Yes, you can build your own visual designer, drag and drop. For example, here you can actually create controls and have drag handles on them, size them, move them, even change their depth. Let's put a bitmap here. And then you can even go into a test mode where the controls actually work. Go back into edit mode, and then I can clear. So you can build your own visual designers with drag and drop as a snap to grid, drag handles, and everything. Now, of course, EZGUI supports all the standard controls in Windows, as you can see here. Supports the majority of the common controls, such as the tab control, tree view, list view control, time date, month or calendar control, animation control, track bars, up-down controls, and the progress bar. EZGUI can also do drag and drop. For example, here's a list box control that's been converted to a drag list. where you can actually drag the items. You notice a little arrow there? Just select one property and your list box is converted to a drag list box. You can even do drag and drop in a tree view control. For example, I can drop some items and move them around. And here's a list view control, and I can do drag and drop. Now you notice with the list view control, EZGUI even supports auto scrolling. See the little arrow? That's pretty hard to do using the Windows API, but EZGUI has it all built in. And you can even do drag and drop from Windows Explorer. I'll run Windows Explorer, and we'll select some files, and I can drag and drop right into an EZGUI control, into a list box control. EZGUI can do multimedia. It can play MIDI, even play a video. For example, EZGUI has vector-based graphics, which are basically scalable graphics. You notice how the image is scaled? And this is a vector-based turtle graphics engine. And then EZGUI has its own canvas control, and you can draw in a variety of ways on a canvas control. But EZGUI can do even more. Let's look at the canvas control, and one of the features it has is a built-in sprite engine. Now, I'm going to use an application that was created using my EZSprite library, which uses the exact same sprite library as is in EZGUI 5.0. Now you'll notice here, both my EZSprite engine as well as EZGUI 5.0 can animate multiple sprites. DirectX or OpenGL is required for this. It's a proprietary sprite engine. I can do alpha blending. Turn that on, turn it off. I can flip horizontally or vertically any sprite image. I can do frame animation where each sprite can have multiple frames. In this case, I'm going to change sprite looks by using different frames. Let me slow this down just a little bit, and you can see that there's a little animation here with these little balloons. And I can alpha blend them as well. So EZGUI has a very, very powerful 2D sprite engine built into the canvas control. And EZGUI 5.0 provides a number of features not found in the EZSprite engine, which is a separate product. But EZGUI 5 can do even more. Let's look at 3D. EZGUI 5.0 has a hybrid control, which is basically builds upon the canvas control and then can add 3D graphics using OpenGL. Well, let's look at an example of that. Now in this case, I'm going to turn the background off because you get higher speeds when you have the background off. The background would be drawn like a normal canvas, but you can also leave it with a solid color and let OpenGL draw the background. In this case, we're going to animate a number of 3D objects. We can rotate them in 3D space, move them back and forward. Now if we add the background, it'll slow down a little bit. OpenGL on inexpensive graphic cards is a little slow in drawing the bitmap background. But on higher end graphic cards, you get very good speed out of it. But EZGUI can do some interesting things with that background. For example, it can zoom in and out. It can darken. It can lighten. And then zoom back in, which is a nice feature. And we'll hide the background again. And then we'll close that application. Now let's look at a little more sophisticated application using EZGUI's 3D Engine. EZGUI has a scripting language, 3D scripting language built in. Scripting language allows you to define a number of different objects and shapes without even using an actual model. For example, there's different 3D primitives, such as a block, a pyramid, a sphere, a rock, cylinder, hexagonal cylinders, six-sided cylinder. How about a cone? Six-sided cone, and many more. Well, EZGUI can also load in objects using a 3D primitive language, and this 3D primitive language can be defined and saved as files and loaded back in. For example, we're going to load one that I already drew. We'll call it wings. Looks like an airplane. And right here in this box here is the actual definition of this 3D image. And so they can be multiple shapes and colors and so forth, and you can create a variety of very simple models using this built-in 3D primitive scripting language. EZGUI goes further. EZGUI also supports an industry standard STL model format. Now, the STL model format, let's see if I can find a file here. Let's bring it a little bit closer. And let's turn off the background so we can see the model by itself. The 3D model format can have very complex models, even thousands and thousands of polygons or triangles in the model. Let's turn off the drawing so we just see the wireframe and you get to appreciate what this model really looks like. It's thousands and thousands of triangles. EZGUI can load in those STL models directly into the runtime engine and display them for you. Well, EZGUI can go even further. EZGUI can change its position on the XY axis. It can scale an image or a model. In each one of the axes. Change perspective, forward and backwards. Can even change things like the lighting and so forth. Let's load in that user-defined image that we had before. Let's stretch this a little bit. Move it around. And wireframe it. So you can see how powerful the 3D engine in EZGUI is. Now, the beauty of the 3D engine is it's built into a control. You can have multiple 3D controls on your forms. You're not just limited to a single window, which is quite common in a lot of graphic-oriented programming tools. For example, here we have actually two 3D graphic controls. This one's displaying our model, and this one is displaying our materials. EZGUI actually has a number of materials already built right in. EZGUI can even do texture mapping. Let's get a simple cube, and you'll appreciate this. Reset it. And actually, let's look at a simple open cube. And now we're going to select some materials that are bitmaps or photos. See, now we can actually display bitmaps right on a single plane in our 3D models. EZGUI even comes with a number of built-in textures. And so forth. And also, the predefined materials, there are not only glossy materials. Let's get a nice circle here, or sphere. You can see here we have a high gloss sphere. We can change it to semi-gloss. And we can change it to a flat color. And because we have 3D lighting, you can have up to 2 lights in your 3D lighting. You can go from flat to glossy and semi-gloss. So there's a lot of power in EZGUI. This is not the entire feature set. This is just some of the features that are built into EZGUI 5.0. Please, seriously consider using EZGUI for your next programming project.